Hello everyone and welcome to today's live Zoo to You. My name is Lexi. I am an educator here at the Stone Zoo and I am so excited to be here with Shadow, our prehensile-tailed porcupine. Now, if you have any questions during my chat today, whoa, he's gonna shake, there he goes. If you have any questions during our chat today, please feel free to go ahead and put those in the comments. And I will try my very best to answer them at the end. Maybe if you're lucky, you'll even stump me on a question or two. All right, so a little background on our friend Shadow here, our very prickly friend. He is 9 years old and was born right here at the Stone Zoo back in 2013. He will be the big 10 double digits coming up in December. And now I really want to spend our time together while you learn about Shadow. I really want to teach you about the training that he gets at the Stone Zoo, because I think it is truly unique and very interesting. As I mentioned at the beginning, I'm an educator here at the Stone Zoo, and due to the small zoo nature that we have here at Stone Zoo, I do also get a lot of hands-on work with our animals and training with our animals, like Shadow here, which is really, really unique and really fun, really interesting. It really allows us as educators to bond with these animals and have a better understanding on how to teach you all what we do with them. So you might notice that Shadow has to touch his nose to this big red target here, and that's exactly what we call it. It's a target. So I'm going to wait a moment so you can see a full example. So what I do is I put the target in front of his nose. As soon as his nose touches it, you might have heard that click noise. It's coming from a clicker. And a treat comes for him. And the treat that he has been getting is his favorite sweet potato. His absolute favorite. So what's really cool about this type of training is it allows us a very hands-off approach. Everything is entirely their choice. They have choice and control over the entire situation of our training. If Shadow did not want to come out onto this perch here today, he wouldn't have, and that is perfectly okay. That's a part of working with animals, and that's something that we have learned here in the zoo field. Let's see if we can, as he finishes that piece, we're going to target him again. And so this target, that click, is called a bridge. And for all different animals, that bridge can be different. So for Shadow here, it's that click. You might even use this same style clicker at home for your dogs, maybe even your cats. And there are other animals who have different bridges. So instead of clickers, zookeepers will use different forms of bridges. Maybe it is a whistle. Maybe it is saying the word yes. And that's something you can even do at home. A super easy way to start training your dog or even your cat at home is that bridge, and you don't even need to buy anything. You can just say the word yes when they do what you are asking them to do, and then you reward them. And like the bridges can be different, the rewards can be different too. For Shadow, it's sweet potato. Undeniably sweet potato. We've tried other things. We've tried corn. We've tried sunflower seeds, and those worked fine. But he really does his best work and his best training with sweet potato. For our bears, it's apple. For my dogs, it's really any treat. And for animals like Blue, our cougar here at the Stone Zoo, his reward is back scratches. With a very long back scratcher through a mesh layer, zookeepers are able to reward him for doing good things with a back scratch. Now, as you look at that very boobable snoot, I want to tell you more about Shadow's family life here at the Stone Zoo, because in order to get Shadow out here today, I had to go into his habitat space to ask him to go into his crate. And what is interesting about this is when I go into that habitat space, I'm going in with not one, but two prehensile-tailed porcupines. Shadow, of course, you're seeing him now, and Prickles, his mate. So Prickles and Shadow were paired together here at the Stone Zoo through a species survival plan, or SSP for short. And what this does is it pairs two animals together to ensure genetic diversity here in zoos. We want to have healthy populations here at the zoo. Their genetics worked well together, so they were paired together to have healthy offspring. These two have had 3 healthy offspring together. Back in 2019, they had their very first baby, who went off to the Minnesota Zoo. Back in 2021, they had another baby who went off to Akron Zoo. And they had a baby just last summer in 2022. Actually, I think it might have been late spring, early summer. Some of you may remember this porcupette that was in there. Porcupette being another name for a baby porcupine. That baby does still live here at the Stone Zoo, but is in a behind-the-scenes or zookeeper-only space. So the reason that the previous offspring from 2022 is living behind the scenes is because anywhere from 5 months to about a year is when a porcupette would kind of be considered an adult and would be going off on their own to live by themselves. So once they reached about that year point is when we separated them as they naturally would in the wild. So that porcupette from last year, who I guess is no longer really a porcupette, is still living here just by themselves. Prehensile-tailed porcupines are mostly solitary, but will find mates that they will absolutely stick around with, as we've seen with Shadow and Prickles. Now, my favorite thing about prehensile-tailed porcupines and their porcupettes is the babies. So those porcupettes, when they are born, they don't look like this. They're not born with all of these wonderful quills all over their bodies. They are born small and kind of a reddish, rusty color, and their quills have not hardened yet or haven't fully come in yet. And when they're born, they're about the size, shape, and color of sweet potatoes. How perfect is that? So after some time, those quills do harden, and shake off again. Those will harden, and they will be kind of fully covered in quills, as you can see here. And speaking of those quills, those are definitely not something we want to mess with. Another reason why this training is so important. We cannot pick up Shadow and say, all right, it's time to go in your crate, and put him in his crate. We can't touch him because those quills will get stuck in us, and we want to make sure we stay safe. So by asking him to move on his own, it ensures his safety and our safety. These quills are really cool because they have microscopic barbs on them, meaning at the points or at the very tips of them, they have little barbs on them, so it makes it really easy for them to go into a surface, but really difficult to come out. And something that I just recently learned that I hope you all find interesting as well is that when quills go into a surface, like a predator trying to hunt a prehensile-tailed porcupine, their muscles will naturally contract as that kind of quill goes into their body. And with that muscle contraction, it sends the quill deeper into them, which I think is just absolutely fascinating. Now, I do want to leave you on a note of how you can help this species. So we do not have prehensile-tailed porcupines native around here. As you can see, they're only covered in quills, not a lot of fur or hair. They would not do so well in a Massachusetts winter. They do stay inside all winter long here at the Stone Zoo, but we do have their lovely cousins, the North American porcupine. And North American porcupines, rather, are facing some threats such as deforestation. And with arboreal animals such as porcupines, prehensile and North American, they are essentially losing their homes. Arboreal means they want to live up in the trees. And when they are facing deforestation, they are essentially losing their homes. And when they lose their homes, they make their way down towards the roads. Oops, sorry, Shadow. That's my bad. I dropped that piece of sweet potato. When they make their way down towards the road, if they find things like food near the edges of the road, that will additionally attract them to the road. So I hope that none of you are polluting or littering, but I just wanted to give you one more reason not to. As animals like porcupines are losing their homes, we don't want to draw them even closer to the road. So by tuning into this video, visiting us at the Stone Zoo, you are educating yourself on this wonderful species, prehensile-tailed and North American porcupines, and you are doing a really great job to help the species. Now, I wanted to check in and see if we had any questions.
Well, I've been getting some good shots of Shadow's teeth.
Excellent.
Can you talk a little bit about why his teeth are so orange?
Absolutely. Now, if you're oh, that's a good view of those teeth. Oh my goodness. They are bright orange. And like my nails. Oh my goodness. You might be thinking, well, are his teeth orange because of all of the sweet potato he eats? Well, unfortunately, that's not the reason. That would be cool though. His teeth are that bright orange color because porcupines are rodents. And rodents have those really, really big incisors, those big teeth on the top and bottom. And those incisors grow for the entire duration of their lives. And they need to be extra super strong so they can chew, 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 and wear them down. So that bright orange color that you're seeing is iron in their teeth to help keep them nice and super strong.
And we've been talking a lot about training today. Can you just talk a little bit about what the animals at the zoo are trained to do?
Absolutely. So our animals are trained to participate in their own health care. As I mentioned at the beginning, everything that they do is their choice. So with lots of repetition and lots of training, we do hope that they participate in their own health care, but ultimately it is their choice and that is perfectly okay. So for some animals, it might be asking them to come near a mesh layer, such as a fence, and they're able to, our veterinarians or our zookeepers are able to give them injections like their regular vaccines. They're able to draw blood, like for example from snow leopards' tails. That's training that they're working on now. And through the process of target training such as this, they're able to ask them to move to certain areas, or they might ask them to station somewhere, and through the process of training they're able to ask them to move somewhere. And in most cases when they ask them to move somewhere, there is a scale there. So once they station to that spot, our zookeepers are able to get a weight on those animals, which is so, so cool.
And we had one last question come in from Danya, who's wondering, how old is Shadow and how long do prehensile-tailed porcupines live?
Excellent question, Danya. So Shadow is 9 years old. He will be 10 in December. And prehensile-tailed porcupines specifically here in human care can live into their early or late teens. Excellent. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in to today's Zoo to You.